Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back, as always, to another video on the channel. It's Antonex, and today I wanted to talk about Deathy's recent video, just to jump right into it, and how he highlights cooldowns being an issue in the game, and how easy it is to acquire cooldown reduction in Deadlock, as compared to other MOBAs. And he mentions in his video that his ultra-high elo lobbies might have a little bit of a different feel in terms of how players play the game, and their enjoyment in the game, and so I just wanted to jump in and give my take on somebody who's been bouncing around the mid-level elos, as somebody who's pretty new to MOBAs in general, but not really new to competitive games, and so I wanted to give my take on that. If you read the subreddit or the forums, or just listen to the people who are in your lobbies, you have probably noticed that the #1 complaint this patch actually hasn't been cooldowns. It's been Haze. People hate this lady, and it's because Haze has been, by people's perspective, completely overtuned. I disagree with that a little bit. I do think she's overtuned and OP at the moment, but the bigger problem, where she sources that overpoweredness, is her cooldown and lack thereof, not necessarily her being completely overtuned and doing just a million more damage than anybody else ever could hope to. And so, just to get straight to the point, she's broken at the moment because she can easily become invisible for almost the entire match after 20 minutes in the game with these massive cooldown stacks that are possible at the moment. It's super easy with really common Haze items like superior cooldown, obviously, leech, spiritual overflow, definer's Kevlar. These are going to drop the cooldowns of all her abilities, but specifically her smoke bomb under these types of conditions can get down to 15 seconds. And that's really, like, when you think about it, that's not much dedicated investment specifically to cooldown reduction. That's a lot of stuff that is already useful to her, that it just adds cooldown to her kit. And that smoke bomb has a duration of 20 seconds, so it's 5 seconds longer than the cooldown is, meaning you can use it essentially infinitely as long as you don't cancel it in the middle of the use. And then that's not to mention that her ult under these same conditions only has a 45-second cooldown. And so on top of this, even, I noticed while I was making the video earlier that her smoke bomb is a charge ability, meaning you can, like, spam it essentially with extra rapid recharge. And, like, why on earth is this a thing? Like, I'm genuinely curious. I don't understand it. Like, I literally don't. Why that feels so overpowered to be able to just pop it like that. And so this non-existent cooldown, like I just said, is what makes her overpowered. And that's kind of combined with her unique ability set, with the overabundance of that cooldown. And this allows her to take every single engagement that she enters with advantage because she's walking in invisible and at her own leisure with her ult in her pocket, which is unique to basically every hero this patch. For example, Dynamo. He's another hero that gets a huge buff by having massive cooldown reduction, but you haven't seen the same hate that he gets all over the game's community, the same hate as Haze all over the game's community, because he's not a hard carry character who's going to drop 20, 30 on you in these types of conditions like Haze or Vindicta has. And speaking of Vindicta, a few patches ago, they got rid of her ability to have flight duration scale with spirit power, and this was because with superior duration and a few other items, you could use her fly ability infinitely. The duration was longer than the cooldown, and the devs noticed this, knew it wasn't the intended effect, and so they removed it. Haze is going to get some similar treatment in the next patch to curb her lack of cooldowns. And so what do I think some of those similar treatments should be? Let's talk about a couple of solutions just real quick. I don't think Haze needs that much of a value nerf. I really firmly believe, guys, that her power comes from the general lack of cooldown that she has and how that really enables her to be invisible the whole game. That's kind of the crux of the argument here. And I think adding the spirit damage, though, like which they did to the last, adding the spirit damage to her ult, which they did in the last patch, I think that's a really good addition because Metal Skin, if you recall, became way too hard to counter for Haze in the previous patches, and it almost didn't make Haze unplayable by any stretch, but it certainly made her noticeably weaker than a lot of heroes when now she's completely jumped the line. And so, talking a little bit further, passive cooldowns, like items like Leech, Spiritual Overflow, these non-imbued abilities on cooldowns, that passive cooldown should be removed. Ultimates should really feel like ultimates that change the tide of battle, and you should have to really decide if it's a good time or not to use it, and make that decision in a split second. That's what should determine a better player. And so Haze's ultimate ability cooldown should also be increased, and the ability charges on the smoke bomb should be removed. And I think if we just do a couple of those changes, obviously it's a give and take kind of thing. We're figuring it out as we go. The devs are, certainly. These changes are going to provide an across the board nerf to all the cooldown reduction that'll help ult spam on all fronts, like just getting Dynamo singularity to every single fight. That'll help out there a little bit, but it's also going to attack Haze where she's become the most powerful in that assassin ability, which honestly is more of Wraith's kit anyways. And so I think that if we look at those, it is the cooldowns. If we start working on the cooldowns a little bit, I think you would see a lot of less people complaining about Haze. And that's really all I wanted to talk about today, guys. I just wanted to get a quick one out here because I thought I had something worth saying on this topic, and I just wanted to see what you guys think about the same thing. If you guys think something different, I really want to hear it down in the comments. I reply to all the comments as long as you're not calling me rude names, and I'm very interested in hearing what you all have to say. So do you completely disagree with me? Do you think I'm a dumbass? Please tell me in the comments. I'm very interested to start a conversation. So, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you again this Sunday. Peace.